evening, everybody, for the last time in 2023 to another edition of the Sports Exchange. And I'll tell you what, we've had a great run this year, but we have a lot of big things looking ahead. So before I get to some of the company business, I want to take care of the people that I consider my supporting cast, my brothers, and a lot of other good stuff. Family, to my right, JB Ellis.
How's it going, everybody?
They're doing all right. What about you, Jacob?
Feeling good. And every time I get the right lights on there, I look like I have 100% gray hair instead of 80.
Well, you're better to have gray instead of nay, although some people in my family anyway, sorry, Joe, no, nothing intended. But when I talk about family members, that don't have it, then that's where we talk. So, it doesn't matter. It's probably, at least with your situation, you don't have to worry about haircuts. Of course, I don't bottom either, because there's no whole lot except when it gets long in the back. All right, George Icorn.
Good to be on there, guys. We're a great holiday season. We wish for everybody. Yep.
Yeah, sure. So let me get some company business first, okay? And that's this. And you know what? I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to let Denzel Snipes. He's committed to coming on here, so I'm going to go to a 5-man booth in a couple of weeks when Denzel gets going.
We're going to deal with him?
Oh, why not? Once in a while, we have to support our own, Mr. Ellis. You know how that rolls. And he's as good as one of our own as I've ever seen in this industry. So let's put this whole thing into proper context, okay? And that the Sports Exchange is only being broadcast on around the world. Okay, around the world. Pull up a globe. It's going everywhere. The audio version of the Sports Exchange can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for more subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. One way to do it is go through the chat room. The other way is send your topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and eventually Instagram. Website is www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter/X @Tribune South. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes. My book is called Lessons from the Media, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. And that pretty much talks about old school media versus new school media. Programming note, at the end of January, the Sports Exchange and Pundit will be launching at the end of January on NGBN TV, on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon, and mobile devices. Now, this will stagger you, folks. It will be in 85% of the homes in the U.S. and Canada and 4.1 billion mobile devices. Now, I can't count the 4.1 billion. Really won't have to worry about it, but that's a lot. All right. With that said, let's get to the agenda. I did end with it on Pundit, but now I want to put it in front of all of us. And we'll lead off with you, Joe. The Jets' Aaron Rodgers was activated from injured reserve, but not expected to return this season. Does that move make any sense at all?
Yes, no, and maybe so. I'll give you all the reasons. No, because if he gets hurt, the dumbest move in sports history. Maybe because, it's the Jets. They got to be in the news cycle. And yes, because he's Aaron Rodgers and he wants to be the quickest person to ever come back from an Achilles injury, which who cares, because you're not going to play anyway because your team's out of playoff contention. So yes, no, and maybe so, all three.
Okay. Before we go ahead and turn over to Jacob, Candy, lessons from the microphone, and then the next here's a link to get it. There you go, folks. There's a link. If you missed it the first time, it'll be on our website. She's going to be working on that, but I want to make sure you can check out my book. It's a good opportunity. It's a good Christmas present for people aspiring to get in this industry and learn what it once was versus what it is. So thanks, Candy, for putting it out there. All right, Jacob.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's the thing about this is that he was talking about, I am about 100%. It'd be about 3 to 4 weeks. You want to know what it would have been if they would have won that game against Miami? 98% next week. It's just true. It's like if they would have won their upsets in Miami, he would have just said, I'm coming back no matter what, because we're right in the playoff contention. He doesn't know his percentages to be able to come back or whatever. It's an ego deal. But think about this for all the second whatsoever. I think the biggest thing with him this year has been he was helpful in a certain case to be able to, because Zach Wilson took a beating from a lot of people, and before when he had a beating, he didn't have any kind of mentor. So the mentoring helped. The only thing I would have wished for him is that he called the plays instead of Nathaniel Hackett. It's just being truthful. I mean, Hackett was there for Aaron Rodgers, and also to get his coffee and his dry cleaning. That's about all he does for Aaron Rodgers anyway. So he didn't need to call those plays. Aaron needed to, and just be able to do those things. So good news. Probably good in a certain practice way. There's probably rules he can follow. But other than that, they're not in the playoffs. Who cares?
George?
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I don't think it's a necessary thing to have happen. He's not going to play. He's already said that, but they're just, again, they're the Jets, just like the Giants. They got to be in the news. They got to make news. And, but for him to occupy a roster spot instead of some other young deserving player, no. And I know you brought that up, Scott, on the pundit show, and I agree with you 100%. And, it's a situation where, let's face it. I mean, it's just been total disaster in New York this year with both teams, but especially the Jets. And there's just no hope for this year. Obviously, they're eliminated. They hope to have a more healthier version of him, but who knows? We don't even know what he's got left in the tank, anyways, at his age and coming off of such a serious injury. We'll all see it next year, how it pans out.
Well, if there's one guy I feel sorry for in this whole thing, and I don't usually feel sorry for a lot of coaches sometimes, but Robert Saleh is a guy I do feel sorry for. Entered the year thinking Rodgers would be his quarterback. And on Pundits Fun, we talked about backup quarterbacks and how valuable that they are. Listen, Jacob, you made a great point with Zach Wilson looking to have Rodgers mentor him, but that didn't come about because he had to get in there because of the unfortunate nature of the injury. I'll say it again, as I said it before. Why occupy another roster spot when somebody else more deserving could use it? Remember, folks, you have a 17-game schedule, and you've now allowed yourself to take away from one player that one you can get a look at, and you look on tape to see if he fits into your plans with live action, but you've eliminated that because you wanted Rodgers. I don't understand the logic behind that. But I feel bad for Robert Saleh. I hope he doesn't lose his job yet. Let's see what he can do with Rodgers, providing he comes out, he's healthy. If Rodgers thinks, well, I'll be the quickest guy to come back for an Achilles injury, then my suggestion to Rodgers is, I don't know where your retreat was earlier when you were meditating about where you wanted to play, but you need to go back there pretty quick and come to your senses a little bit. This one makes no sense. But Robert Saleh, give him one more year, see where we go. All right. Well, you know what? Underdog stories are really what it's all about. Before I go ahead and get to one, all right, Denzel Snipes, A-Rod, he'll be playing in a meaningless week 18, just to be the first to come back from an injury because it's literal most he will get from this season. All right, JB Ellis, you're going to start with my eyes. You're going to start reading these chats. Okay, my friend. So, all right. So,
You got it.
So JB, why don't you respond to Den's?
No, he's 100% right. I mean, the coach isn't Robert Saleh, it's Aaron Rodgers. And that's the problem. There's no reason the Jets needed to bring him back. It's just stupidity. Like you said, it's a wasted roster spot. There's no, it doesn't benefit anybody except for a meaningless thing. And Rodgers said that he was the quickest one to ever come back from this injury.
Yeah, this makes no sense at all.
No.
All right. Now we'll go to the underdog story that I want to talk about. 'Tis the season to mention this story. Kudos, okay, to the 2023 NAIA National Champions, Kaiser University in West Palm Beach, Florida, as they defeated Northwestern College, Iowa, 31-21 for its first football national championship. Now, I've actually visited that campus, and it's actually a pretty neat little campus, but I'll tell you one thing, and a little bit of information about Kaiser. Raleigh Massimino actually coached basketball there for a period of time.
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah,
that's very cool.
yeah, it is. Raleigh Massimino. I actually stepped in that gym, went out there a little bit. I was trying to do some stuff for the Palm Beach Post, with my
Hmm.
buddy, and we weren't able to get a whole lot going on then. But I may take a ride out there at some point. With all the demands that we have, Joe, nowadays it's not easy to get on the road except when you know you need to do it. And I will tell you another great feels good story here. It happens to be Nova Southeastern University, and at last I looked, I know that they were the defending national champions in Division Two, I believe, and they also have a 50-game winning streak. But let's keep the focus on Kaiser University. Now, like I said, Raleigh Massimino. What do you think about this NAIA school winning its first national champion, Joe?
Listen, it's a great thing. Congratulations to all the athletes and coaches, all the work they put in. It says a lot when you can come together and win a championship, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. Now they can relax a little bit, get ready for next season. I'm sure some of the team will be graduating and moving on to other schools, but they can never take away what was done this year, and they should be proud of what they did.
Jacob.
Oh my lord! I went to Lee University, Tennessee, during the time like 2000 to 2004. I made a movie on the whole deal, and they made the NAIA tournament one year. My God, it's a brutal, brutal tournament. NAIA always is brutal, ridiculously. Top seeds get dropped off all the time by the lower ones. It is, even though the competition at the time was not as tough as the NCAA, the competitiveness of it's ridiculous. And now you are adding to that. NAIA schools are getting the top-notch players because they don't have the academics for the NCAA right now. So you'll get those. So now you're getting NAIA schools beating NCAA schools like early in the year. So this is not a shock. And congratulations for the title. Congratulations for everything. But NAIA, I've always had the utmost respect. It is both football and basketball, very brutal, ridiculously. And it's and they play very, very hard. And it's, what it is? It's just NCAA without the extra money.
That's a good point. All right, you know what? Before I turn over to George, okay, JB, I need your eyes tonight. Go ahead, please.
Congrats to them. Maybe one day they can move up to the NCAA from NAIA. My alma mater, Abilene Christian, did generations ago.
Okay, thank you. All right, George, go ahead.
Yeah, it is a tremendous accomplishment. Hats off to Kaiser. That's a great feeling, I know. To a lesser scale, when I used to cover Wayne State University here in Detroit, Division II, it is a source of sense of pride for the athletes and also for the coaching staff. Like you mentioned, JB, everybody involved in the program, the athletic trainers, the medical staff, and the coaching staff, and obviously the alumni and the sports information department. It goes deep. It's just, the athletes, of course, deserve, the acclaim, the guys on the field. But that being said, there are so many others that obviously are celebrating as well. And it's a great event, and it's a great accomplishment. Anytime you win a championship in sports, but especially on the gridiron, it means so much. The schools try so hard to succeed. And when you can do that and taste that, if you will, that taste of victory, it is a tremendous honor. Trust me, I've seen it happen in some of the smaller schools, and reading about it and watching games here in Michigan. So it is a tremendous opportunity. And again, hats off to Kaiser for doing this and achieving this.
Yeah, let me add one footnote to the whole thing, which is really good. Remember, when you're an NFL scout, you can find players anywhere. I don't care if it's NAIA, Division III, Division II, Division I. It doesn't matter. And for that point, I can even mention HBCUs, which have produced some good players over the years. And if you want one that really stands out, how about Doug Williams of Grambling? Came out of Grambling. Yeah, and I'm probably convinced many other ones, but as far as I'm concerned, these bowl games are all great. Another opportunity for athletes to make an impression, except for the ones that know are going to get drafted. But let's not underestimate the fact that in NAIA, you can go out there and find hidden gems. And I love to use the word hidden gems because that's what a lot of these guys are. And you know what, Joe, you've talked about going to what National Pro Scouting Combine. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of what that National Pro Scouting Combine is?
So the National Scouting Combine, which is in Westfield, Indiana, right down the road from Indianapolis, is 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. And you'll get a lot of guys that unfortunately didn't get the invite from the NFL. So, they're looking to showcase their talent. They're guys from Division One, Division Two, Division Three, NAIA. They're all talented. They all work hard at their craft. There's also free agents. There was a guy who was the MVP of the Japanese Football League that was there last year. Those NFL scouts, CFL scouts, Arena League, and different sports where they feel that a football player might fit in. And it's just a great opportunity to showcase your talent. And besides for that, what I like about the program, Jimmy Kimmel, who runs it, he talks to the guys and helps prepare them for things outside of football, because unfortunately it's only the 1% that'll get to play the game on Sundays or in these higher leagues. You have to look for things outside of football. It doesn't mean don't train and be prepared, because you never know when you're going to get that call, but you still have to, prepare for life outside the game. And he tries to give them all the help to go through all that.
So you say this is a National Scouting Combine, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And of course, the guy that we're going to be working with, I don't mind mentioning his name now because we have a lot to look forward to with the NGBN TV, is a guy by the name of Ian Hill. You will be hearing a lot more about Ian Hill. And I just want to use this opportunity, since Kaiser did win, that the National Scouting Combine is what you're saying, right, Joe?
Yes.
This is an opportunity for even guys at this level to get noticed, because I'll tell you, NFL pro scouts are looking everywhere, and don't lose sight of the fact that you have the XFL/USFL, which is about ready to merge anytime. It's just a matter of all the documents in place. This is an unbelievable experience. And when we talk about the Abilene Christians, we talk about the Wayne States, and then you talk about Kaiser University. This is really what it's all about. I don't care. Don't be surprised how many scouts are really sitting at these games, especially as you go deeper into the postseason as well. So congratulations, Kaiser University. And I hope maybe a couple of your players work their way to the NFL. All right. Well, this is a topic I really put a lot of thought into. And I have Mr. Ranter, our new Mr. Opinion, Jacob Christner. Okay. You're going to love this one. Sometimes, Joe and George, you have to insert things in here that cater to specific individuals. And this one's got Christner's name written all over it. All right. But according to Front Office Sports, First Take and Undisputed both revamped their cast, each vying to become the top embrace debate show on TV this fall. Now, Jacob's favorite person, Stephen A. Smith, okay, and we know that he is Jacob's favorite person. His average viewership is 554,000, and Skip Bayless on FS1, 120K. Now, some of that could be attributed to the fact that FS1 is not Fox, so you wonder if the numbers are a little bit off that way versus ESPN. So, go ahead, Joe. What are your thoughts about embrace debate?
Listen, just run your show, have the people you think are best, try and be number one, but it doesn't really matter. It's just rhetoric. They're not the number one show anyway. The number one shows are shows I'm involved in. I guarantee you, watch this show, watch Sideline Sports any day of the week, 100 times better than anything those talking heads have to say. I challenge Stephen A. or Skip to actually have a real opinion that's not just clickbait.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and again, Sideline Sports, South Florida Tribune, we work really hard behind the scenes to put these shows together. The only difference is these people here have a higher platform, and the marketing is done for us. If anybody would know that, George Eichhorn and I would know, because we had WXYZ. All we had to do is show up and make sure the guests were good and the talent was sound. With that, though, I will transition over to George before I leave Jacob last. So I know he's brewing inside, but go ahead, George. And Joe, I just want to mention one thing for our viewers, okay? They'll want to make sure the National Scouting Combine. And where's that held at?
In Westfield, Indiana.
Okay, very good. You say Jimmy Kimmel's behind it?
Kibble.
Okay, sounds good. All right, go ahead, George.
Yeah. No, I agree with JB. I mean, this is something that, you know, they want to brag about and talking points and all that sort of thing. But we have great programming here. We have great programs across the country with other young people and aspiring broadcasters and current broadcasters. The podcast industry is big, but, you know, you want to put out the best. And I know we try that so hard here, and JB and Sideline Sports and Scott and Candy. And I would take a backseat to no one on that. You know, we went through that. Like Scott said, we went through that back in radio. I mean, this guy claimed he had the number one, and he did have the number one sports talk show in Detroit. And he wouldn't let anybody forget about it. But unfortunately, he burned his bridges, the host of the program, and they no longer wanted him over there. And, you know, all heck broke loose when he got let go. But we've seen it in the radio business, and, you know, and to maintain a high level of viewership or listenership or clicks and watching it on the internet. I mean, you got to maintain that high level. You got to work hard at it. And I know these people in this show right here and behind the scenes are working very hard at it. So I know they can go on and say whatever they want, but I wouldn't take a backseat to anybody. No.
All right. Well, go ahead, Jacob. The floor is yours, but not for the whole hour because we do have a certain
An hour. I don't care what Stephen A has being number one. He can say he's number one all he wants to. He's not number one until he faces me, and he doesn't stand a chance. I'm just giving this, but here's the thing about this number. 550,000 to 120,000. So let me ask this question. Big deal on television. How many hits does each get? And I can tell you this, that's probably pretty close, considering Skip's a little bitty twerp that shows this picture all the time, and he says stupid things, and people click on stupid. And the thing is, Stephen A does the same thing, but he actually tries to make a good point once in a while. But I am interested in finding out how many hits there are on social media compared to each other. And that might be closer than we think.
Well, it's interesting when we compare and contrast the styles. I've always liked Skip Bayless because he's an old school journalist like George and I have learned to become over the years. So it's not like he hasn't reported in the field and his opinions are what they are. But what I've known is I've watched, because I'm a student of these shows, so I want to see what I can incorporate into what our platforms are about. You know, so you really have to do that. And to me, I will say this, Smith may be a little loud, but the more I watch this guy, his research is pretty good. I mean, if he's going to sit there and go at you, at least he's got all his ducks in orders. But that doesn't mean I have to like or dislike the guy. But anybody that researches their topics well and come up with something, because I think one of the things that we pride ourselves here is this. Our goal here is to make sure that we inform people, entertain, and educate. You know, and that's what we need to never lose sight of what you're doing there. So, but, you know, now we're talking embrace debate. Everybody's doing it. Who can do it better? And you only have two out there that are really doing it to begin with. So, you know, I think the numbers are somewhat skewed only because Smith is on the mother station, ESPN. Okay. If they had been on ESPN2, are the numbers closer? Sure, because FS1 is not Fox. So you have to look into the numbers in that sense where, well, where they putting? Numbers are what you want, and you can do whatever you want with them. But do they really mean that much more anyways? We can all do what we want.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, Stephen A came up through the Daily News in New York City and in Philly. You know, he is a journalist first before he took on this persona that he is now.
Right.
And he was much more likable when he didn't try and just be loud. Nothing wrong with it, but, you know, he's over the top now and he just says things to say things. You know, when he actually performs like a journalist, the man is brilliant. He's one of the best in the business, but he's just gotten so big. And the same thing with Skip. You know, Skip, I don't know as much about his backstory, but I know Stephen A because I've read him since I'm like 7, 8 years old in the Daily News, you know. So I always admired his work, but I just think he as he's performed and got into this TV thing where he is now, He just his character has become so much more than what it needs to be.
Well said, because when I talked to Bob Lee, I met Bob Lee and spent a little time with him over in North Carolina. Bob was at that time retired the next day after he collected his awards out in North Carolina. Bob said, you know, some people are just, I'm glad that I'm glad I've done what I've done. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to point out any particular names on the networks. I look at Bob. You know what, Bob? You don't have to. Okay. I mentioned Stephen A. Smith and he didn't disagree. He didn't. But Bob Lee, to me, is a gold standard of what journalists are like, anyways. He really is. Here's a guy that covered a lot of sports play by play. But when you talk about the gold standard of sports journalism, and I'll even throw a couple of names. What about Michael Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser? These two guys, to me, are the gold standard. And what was interesting during the Chuck Hughes debacle was that Mike Wilbon and Tony Kornheiser were the only ones that even mentioned Chuck Hughes, and the whole rest of the station didn't. And George and I did a broadcast with, I'm trying to think, oh my God, Jerome Jaranovich.
Right.
And you know, he echoed the same things, of just scaling back on the production help and all that business. Nobody knew, but Mike Wilbon, Tony Kornheiser, they're pros. Bob Lee, what else can I say? Anybody want to add to that?
Oh, pundit, we did too. And it's like those are the things that, see, that's the biggest problem with having this kind of journalism right now, is if it's back then, it's evil. That's their mindset. If it's back in, it's evil. And it's like, we got to get out of that, because you learn from your history. You don't erase it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well said, Jacob. Exactly. So, all right, final topic we're going to get to, then we're going to go to some headlines, will be the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons, out at least till January due to a pinched nerve in his back. Oh, my goodness. Seriously? All right, Joe, you being a New York guy, give me your take on Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons still plays basketball.
Exactly.
That's the only take I could ever have on that guy.
Yeah, you know what? There's one word that describes Ben Simmons: bust. Big time bust. Oh, well, that's 3 words. Okay, Jacob.
Ben Simmons and tough go together like Zion Williamson and Ozempic. I mean, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. This guy absolutely positively cannot take any kind of, and the thing is, really, here's the deal with this. Every single time he goes around there, he looks shredded every single year. It's like he's had that year off to take, clear his brain a little. Remember, he's got the mental issues, all that kind of stuff. Then he plays through the season. He can't take pain. He can't take the beatings either. He can't take mental beatings. Personally, this is the thing. Nets, you paid for him. You traded for him. Here's the deal. You're going to have to pay him all that money. That's your fault. But there's got to be some coach out there that understands. And yes, you're right, Denzel, bust. But they're going to have to understand what I had said from last year. You're going to have to start doing it and just, chew it up, spit it out, and forget about it. Do this. He is a facilitator. Get him some defense and do about 16 minutes a game. He'll be the most expensive one. But quit trying to make him what he's not. He just doesn't have the mental or physical capacity to do it.
All right, JB, I need you to read this.
Ben Simmons and tough go together like a screen door and a submarine.
That is good. Good job, Denzel. That was really, I've never heard that one. Everybody's come up with great one-liners. Hey, George, you ought to mention what you mentioned about Tommy DeVito. I think JB Ellis heard this one about the sauce. You got to bring this one up. Go ahead, George. Before you comment on this one. You even remember what it was, Icorn?
He didn't have egg on his face. He had pizza sauce on his face.
Tommy DeVito. That was good.
His Italian agent.
I've known this guy 44 years, and I think it's the first time I've ever seen him come up with a one-liner worth mentioning.
I'm trying. The bar is very high on this program. Hey, listen, I'll give you some stats. Okay, Ben Simmons, Okay, so when he started out with Philadelphia, he's got 15, almost 16 points a game he averaged. The next year, he almost averaged 17 a game. And then the next year, 16, and then 14. Well, as soon as he got to Brooklyn, 6.9? Who are you kidding me? 6.5 this year and 6.9 points a game. Now, his rebounding did go up a little bit. Okay, I'll give him credit for that. His career started with about 8 rebounds a game, and now he's up to almost 11 a game. But hey, this guy, yeah, he is on the downside. It's a shame. His numbers are not there. He's just not effective like he was when he was a Sixer. But yeah, I mean, he's out till January. That's a bad guy. But there's no way I'm going to put him on my team. Of course, my team has lost how many games in a row, Scott? Are they up to 24 now?
Yeah,
23?
some things I'd rather
Yeah.
not mention because
Yeah, let's
two of us
skip
will
the
get
Pistons.
embarrassed by other people on this panel if we have to
Yeah,
say
let's just won't go down that road. But yeah, Ben is not what I would call ready for prime time anymore. I mean, those numbers are sinking faster than the ship.
This is where I get with Ben. This is what I get with Ben with all this. It's like this is the coach in me and the GM in me and the idea with me. It's like as he called it Dusty Rhodes, he loves dealing with his broken toys, baby. Broken toys. And he would be my broken toy. I don't want him playing the full time. He doesn't have the physical or mental capacity, obviously, to take pressure. Make him $100 million, 15-minute a game guy. I mean, because like I said, guy's got amazing hands. His pass is pretty and sweet. He rebounds and he steals the big. I mean, on a good night, he'll steal the ball 3 times, get a block or 2. That's enough for 15 minutes. Let it be. You're paying him for so much. That's your fault. But you need ball games. He can help that way. But you got to think of ball games. Take your L. Take your L with the contract and go with it. You're not going to get rid of him. So find another way.
There you go. All right. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, Denzel, I disagree with you on this because I could go for a pizza right now. It would be great, but
Uncle George's pizza business is open, Dan's.
yeah, there we go. There you go. You heard it. So I don't know about JB. I'd like to go for one, but doctors are probably going to say not tonight, not anytime soon, and that is that, right, Joe? We were where I'm going. Right.
Yep, I'm good. I'm good right now. No pizza.
Yeah.
You already had one, right?
Nah, tonight was Portillo's.
Ooh, I love that.
Yep.
Well, tonight I had pork chops. So
that's good.
Nice.
When you have a person around here that can cook really good, then you certainly know that you're very fortunate to have a significant other that is truly that and then some. So
Candy's a good woman. Enjoy her.
Yes.
I have no doubt about it.
Well, she puts up with him, so she's got to be a good woman.
Oh, no question about it. I'll be the first to tell you that. I'll tell you, this woman here is amazing.
Yeah.
My late grandmother Sophie would have loved her. By the way, she would have. My Aunt Judy did. And by the way, happy birthday in heaven to my Aunt Tina Kaplan as well. So, I don't know what she would have turned. So I think I don't know the age. I really don't care. I think she was born in 42. I think she should have been 81. I think. I don't know, somewhere around there. Anyways, all right, let's go over to some top storylines here. The nation's top safety, KJ Bolden, flips from Florida State University to Georgia. My goodness. If that isn't putting egg on your face, and I don't know what the heck is. What do you think, Joe? Going from FSU to Georgia just before the Orange Bowl? Really?
Listen, if you could go to Georgia, why not? They lost 1 game in 2 years. I can't blame him, even though he didn't lose at Florida State. So, there's got to be a reason for him to do it. I don't know why you'd make that move, but hey, there's many different reasons to switch schools when you're in college. I wish him all the luck, and hopefully it's the right move for him.
Okay. All right, Jacob, what do you think?
Kirby Smart is the remember. Think about what Kirby Smart played. He played backfield. You know what I'm saying? It's like in college. He played at Georgia. He is the ultimate coach in that area. Their defense is beast. It's beast, and that's what carried them. Besides Stetson Bennett, it's what carried them to 2 national titles and 1 away from this playoff. They have a beast defense. They get pickoffs and fumbles at will, absolute will. And the biggest thing about him, if he's coming there, it means he's going to be forefront on something like that, and he's going to love their defense, and he's going to get plays, which he might not have gotten at Florida State.
Okay, George.
Yeah, I mean, this is the season for all the different flips from one team to the other. And, I do wish him well. I mean, he's got a top-notch program there, top-notch coaching staff. Georgia is obviously one of the best in the nation at everything they do. And I wish him well. I just think the portal is just going berserk. I think it's going way too far than I ever imagined it to be. But these kids have an opportunity to move on to a program that they think they're going to succeed better at. All the more power to them under the current rules of engagement, if you will, in NCAA football. So he's going to a great program, no question about it.
Okay, let's go to Denzel Snipes. I like what this guy is putting up here tonight. Then again, he's an extension only in the chat room. All right, Joe.
UGA will be a title favorite next year. Kirby Smart is making moves. I'm not mad at the move.
Okay, fair enough. I can tell you one outlet they'll be happy is the one broadcasting the event. Another storyline to talk about at the Orange Bowl. Talk about adding insult to injury. You're going from one team to another. I mean, sometimes the timing is unbelievable. So, all right, here's another one here. This is in your neck of the woods, Jacob, that the Atlanta Falcons won't decide on the future of head coach Arthur Smith before the end of the 2023 campaign, according to team owner Arthur Blank. All right, Joe, some thoughts about Blank waiting until the end of the year.
I mean, what's the hurry to do it now? Why do we got to make the decision? There's still 3 games to go. They're still in the playoff hunt. They're a game out of the division lead. Why are we making the decision on the coach now? What's everybody's hurry? Where do you need to be tomorrow?
Right.
Leave the guy alone. Let him do his job. The person who owns the team, Arthur Blank, it's his team. He can do whatever he wants. Why is everyone in such a hurry to figure it out? Just relax. Watch the games. Enjoy. Fantasy football. We all want to be the GM. We all want to own the team. We don't.
Right.
It's Arthur Blank's team. If you want to watch, watch. If you don't want to watch, don't watch.
Exactly.
Get over it. It's his job. Let the man go out there and perform, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, it's not like it's an obvious situation where the Chargers were forced to get rid of Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
That was a different animal. That was building up. And that move should have occurred last year when actually Candy and I covered the game between.
He should have walked home from that loss.
Yeah, he should have. I mean, I think about 27-point lead. I couldn't believe what I was watching in front of my eyes. See Jacksonville come. Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And all of a sudden, the Jacksonville Jaguars won. And
that's why they won't allow me to own a team, because I would have made him walk back to Los Angeles
with
and I would say
with a broken leg.
No. Would he have gotten through the desert when he got that far? I don't know, but just walk. You want to keep your job, walk home, because you're not getting the team playing. And if I see you book another flight, that's it. You're done.
Let's go to the chat room, Joe. You'll be busy tonight. Go ahead.
Georgia Bulldogs have the number 1 overall class with 19 ESPN 300 commitments.
Good stuff,
Wow.
Candy. That's incredible. All right. Go ahead.
The NFC South is hard, and that's why the Falcons are still in it. Falcons with the South, and they'll find a way to keep them.
Excellent point.
GMTA, Denzel, GMTA, and that's my point too.
Well, now you get a chance to express it. Go ahead.
Yeah, the excuse that will be is the fact they had Desmond Ridder, who's not good.
Right.
That will be with him, and the fact that they had an improvement. They were in one game from the NFC South last year. They're right there, the NFC South this year. He wins it. They'll find a way to keep him, and he would get his own quarterback. And I'll bet you it's Justin Fields. So I think Arthur Smith's doing a good job. Better than the last ones, some of the last ones. I think he's trying to get a offensive system he doesn't have the people for right now.
Right.
Taylor Heineke's fine, but he's not for that system. Desmond Rivers, all right, but he fumbles too much. He's not for that system. You want to see if that system truly works. I'm going to say Justin Fields or or even better, Lamar Jackson or any of those types that can run whatever system that he wants. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't win, then he's gone. But he has his excuse right now.
Yeah, before I turn over to George, I think the more you mention Justin Fields in Atlanta, the more it just makes too much sense.
Oh, he
Because,
goes home. Goes
Yeah.
home.
all right, back to Denzel.
Brandon Staley should not be allowed near a Pop Warner team.
That was good. All right, continue on with the sniper. All right, ready?
In any other division, Arthur Smith is fired mid-season. That's not true.
No, not with Denzel, not with the McCaskets, not with the McCaskett family, not a chance. I mean, they'd keep him forever.
Okay, well, there you go. All right. I'll tell you, these are unbelievable. All right, well, here's a topic that LA people may or may not like. Cal State Northridge stuns UCLA to end an 11-year Pac-12 drought. You want to talk about the timing of this whole thing? As a last year for the Pac-12, and then this takes place. So here's what we have here. I'll go into more details about the story. Deontay Bostic scored 18 points, and Deshaun Allen Eichen scored 17 points, and Cal State Northridge ended an 11-year losing streak against the Pac-12 conference, stunning UCLA 76-72. Prior to Tuesday, the last time the Matadors beat a Pac-12 school occurred on December 21st. Get this, okay? December 21st, 2012. See, Cal State University Northridge hadn't won in Pauley Pavilion since 2000-2001 season, a year that resulted in a trip to the NCAA tournament. And to even add more to this whole thing, the loss ended UCLA's 29-game home winning streak. Wow. All right, Joe.
Listen, college basketball is a crazy game where there are a lot of good teams. There's over 200 Division I college teams. Some of the lower tiered schools are better than some of the blue bloods at times. You never know who you're going to play, how good they are. Just enjoy guys playing hard. It's a different game than the NBA. I can watch college basketball 24 hours a day because they play hard. It's a different style. You know, you see some teams that are just bad, and that's not enjoyable to watch. But for the most part, they're all out there giving full effort. And, you know, it's great to see them go into UCLA. The last year of the Pac-12, taking a win. You know, they'll never be able to play a Pac-12 team after this year. You know,
Right.
so get that last win in there, and you know, good luck to them going forward.
Okay, yeah, I actually stayed when I had some friends that were living there. I stayed in Northridge with some close friends, and that was the year I actually went to the Rose Bowl when Michigan took on Washington. I think it was 1991. But anyways, so I know where Northridge is. All right, Jacob.
None of this truly matters anymore with little versus big. This isn't 2005. This isn't 1998. This isn't 1986 where Cleveland State beats Indiana, and then you know it's going to get their butt kicked the next year. It's because
Right.
they don't. It's not. I mean, you played the game of your life, and in those days, and you get that, but you're not going to win the next 9. If you get my point. I mean, think about this for 1 second. Chris Tabor on the Carolina Panthers. He's the inner coach for the Panthers. Came from Culver Stockton College, was a coach there who
Right.
no one but me would hear of. And stuff like that. And now he's coaching in the NFL. You have Skylar Thompson, who played in the playoff game last year, came from
Right.
Missouri. His great dad coached there. It doesn't matter what you get with small or big. The small can beat them now. The small are getting the bigger names. The small are getting the athletes. Maybe it's because they'll offer the NIL money. Maybe it's because they don't have the grades, but they're getting them now, and it is more of an even field.
All right, you know what? Before I turn over to George, let's go to Den's Pac-2. I can even read that. It's short enough. Okay. So, all right, but it'd be hard to read this one, Joe. Go ahead.
I still say there was some sort of conspiracy to break up the Pac-12, winningest conference in the land as far as national championships across all sports, and they got broken up. Too fishy.
Okay. Anybody want to add to that?
Oh, Denzel, here's the issue with that too. They had the worst media deal. They had an Apple TV media deal. Everybody else got. Let's see, the SEC got theirs. That big B1G got theirs, and they were all ESPNs. They're all CBS. and then the Pac-12 was the Apple TV deal.
Right.
It can't do that anymore, not in this type of thing. It's like the only one that gets away with a bad deal is Notre Dame. And it's because they've grandfathered in that terrible deal with NBC. But it's like they're grandfathered in. They keep extending it. I don't know why. But they're the only ones that can get away with it. You do this now, this is what happens.
Good point. All right, George.
Well, Cal State, Northridge, I mean, congratulations. The guys played a great game, and especially winning at Pauley Pavilion, the home of John Wooden. Oh, my gosh. I mean, what a tremendous, tremendous game. But like you guys have been saying, parity is now more commonplace, especially in college hoops. We've seen it the last few years, and it continues, and anybody can beat anybody, the old adage, but especially in college basketball. I mean, I've seen a lot of that. This season has really been one of, upsets so far. So, but yeah, UCLA will come back, but no, that's a great story. I'm glad that they could finally put an end to that losing way against the Pac-12, and obviously upset UCLA on their own home court. So all the more power to them. It reminds me of that Appalachian State against University of Michigan as the famous loss at the Big House many, many years ago by Appalachian State. And they are a good program. Appalachian State is a really good program now. Here's Denzel, another comment from Denz.
All right, go ahead. You can read this one.
Anybody can beat anybody. Abilene Christian upset Texas.
There you go. Abilene Christian, you're getting some good prompts tonight, bud.
Yeah.
Well, all I can tell you, the Pac-12 will leave a long-lasting impression with this game. Of course, you have the Washington Huskies in the Final Four, so we'll see whether the story continues, or as everybody politely says, the Pac-2. All right, one other storyline I want to get to, or maybe two, but Matt LaFleur says firing embattled defensive coordinator Joe Barry isn't the best solution for the Packers. So, Joe, from one Joe to another.
The Packers just sort of fell off the cliff. They were doing well, then they lost that Giants game, and I don't think getting rid of the defensive coordinator is the answer. I think that they need to really build up their offensive line, get some skilled players on offense to help Jordan Love out, who actually showed he's capable of leading that offense, and build around him. Don't do what they did to Aaron Rodgers and draft defensive guys. Get skilled players to help him out.
Yeah, I've always thought that firing coaches isn't always the answer. Maybe you have to develop the talent you have and then make a judgment after that. Go ahead, Jacob.
Why? It's like, for one thing, you've got, I mean, I was wrong about Jordan Love with his wins. I was wrong about that. He still is not the greatest. This is the thing to understand. We're now dealing with I said the term emotional nitwit on the pundit. Emotional nitwits are in play here. They are absolutely panicking and melting down in Philadelphia after 3 losses in a row. This happens in a long season, you emotional nitwits. Happens in a long season. This is, you are good or you're bad or whatever. You're a target, especially if you're like, say, 10-1 like Philly. Everybody's a target. They're all trying to win too. You are not the only good one on this whole thing, and the others are bad. No matter what the kindergarten mind thinks. You're not. They're all the very best. Someone's got to adapt. Someone's got to get back. Someone's got to win. Someone's got to lose. But the thing is, this is say with Joe Brady, who cares? He can figure it out. Personally, to me, when I hear things like that, I say give him a 5-year extension. And then the more they keep complaining, give him 5 more till they shut up. He can retire with a multi-million-dollar thing in Green Bay as long as they keep talking.
George.
Yeah, Joe Barry. I mean, this guy's been a coach since 1995, I believe.
Well, here, George, why don't you go ahead and read this and then you carry on.
Yeah. It's a rebuild, but this is not bad for a rebuild year. Packers are still in the playoff race. They kind of overachieved despite losing AR-12.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yeah. I mean, Joe Barry, we all remember Joe Barry as the same guy that the Detroit Lions had under Rod Marinelli, and our friend Rob Parker with his famous quote, And that was a real funny one. Remember that, Scott?
Oh
But
yeah,
he asked Marinelli, he says, do you wish your daughter, no, do you wish your daughter had picked a better son-in-law or something like that?
yeah. I
And
know Rob to be brash, and I got to know him well. I've
yeah,
always liked Rob though.
yeah, he really, when Barry was in Detroit as coordinator. But all that being said, I mean, the guy is a proven veteran. He's been a coach for a long, long time and a coordinator for many of those years. And yeah, I don't think firing him is going to make an ounce of success right now, a sense or success for the Packers. I mean, you're right, guys. They got to get skilled players. They got to draft. They got to sign free agents, and they got to develop that defensive unit like it used to be so ferocious all those years the Packers had.
All right, I have one other newsworthy topic. I'll just talk about it on my own real quick before we wrap this bad boy up. LSU quarterback Jaden Daniels will skip the Relia Quest Bowl against Wisconsin to prepare for the 2024 NFL Draft. He announced Monday, good move. I've seen a lot of players get severely injured in bowl games. If you know you're a high pick, then you definitely have to do that. So with that said, I'm going to go over a few other things that we have lined up with Sideline Sports in the South Florida Tribune. I want to remind everybody one more time that the Sports Exchange is being broadcast around the world. The audio version of Sports Exchange can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please hit the red subscribe button on YouTube, South Florida Tribune. We're striving for more subscribers. Please also comment, like, and share the broadcast. Want to be a guest? No problem. Feel free to comment in the chat room or send your ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise cost efficiently, call me at 954-304-4941. We broadcast live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and eventually Instagram. Website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Twitter @TribuneSouth. Candy Ebling is behind the scenes to make this operational work. Does an unbelievable job. Proud of her big time. I have a book out there that can be purchased on Amazon and Kindle called Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. Also, one thing I mentioned earlier, I'll reiterate again, and the Sports Exchange and Pundits Pundit will be at the end of January. NGBN TV will launch on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and mobile devices. It will be in 85% of the homes in the U.S. and Canada and 4.1 billion, and I said billion, folks, mobile devices. Great stuff by our pal Ian Hill, Joe. So what I want you to do is, while we have a couple of minutes, give everybody an overview about what NGN TV means to us at the Trib, you, and the landscape of what we're looking to accomplish, and then you could talk about Sideline Sports.
So NGBN is more than just a TV network. It's actually got a mission to try and save men's lives. It's a network that's out there that has, it's basically the demographic and the statistics of middle-aged men that actually commit suicide is astonishing. It's one of the highest categories. So Ian Hill, who's the founder of the network NGBN, is trying to be the oldest collegiate NCAA football player. He's a long snapper. He's 58 years old. He played junior college last year, got hurt. He's still working to get back to make it, but he put together a network. The Tribune with the Sports Exchange will be on there, Sideline Sports, and a bunch of other shows. The Pundit show will also be there. But it also involves mental health, and it's a great community. It's more than just sports talk. It's more than just entertainment. It also has a mission. And it's actually good to be giving back to something in the community, besides just doing what we love.
And you told me you met him at the National Scouting Combine. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, now you can let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
So JB_ the program on X, Sideline Sports every Tuesday, Facebook, Twitter, soon to be Instagram, YouTube, DBTV, Alumni Media, and of course NGBN now.
Very good. Okay, Jacob.
NGBN means a whole lot because this is the perfect type of show, the Pundits Pundit, for that network. Because a lot of our topics go based to like 40 to 60-year-olds. We talk about the past, but we also talk about the future. So it educates them. It educates them for the future, while it also brings them back a little bit of entertainment, bringing them back to the past. And we love this. And this can also get them off their minds. Plus the fact we've talked about mental health more than once on Pundit. So I just wanted to say NGBN is going to be beautiful for this network. I mean, for this show and the network, they're going to be a great team. And where I'm at is Sundays in mornings. It's with Scott. It is Scott and Denzel. It is the professor to pupils now. It is Monday nights, the Top Rope Talk. Wednesdays is South Florida Tribune with the Sports Exchange. Thursdays, Pundit's Pundit. Once in a blue moon, Fridays Gauntlet. And I am on a final read for a possible movie, for a one-day roll on a possible movie. It's called 10 Toes Down. I meet with them Friday. We see if I get it or not.
All right. One interesting note too is when I did Basket Bros with not Will Vogel, but mainly with Jacob and Denzel, I thought the chemistry worked out so well that there was no doubt I was going to bring the three of us back on Professor and Pupil. We'll be doing that more on a regular basis after the first of the year. It was great this past Sunday that we were able to do it. It was just really neat stuff. And now the chemistry amongst us is unreal. So a good point. And that's a show to watch out for on the South Florida Tribune Broadcasting Network. Finally, George Eichhorn.
Yeah, you can read me at the South Florida Tribune website under the Motor City Tribune. Cover all the teams in Detroit, Michigan area here. And also, there's a link at the end of the column if you'd like to get a copy of my books, Detroit Sports Broadcasters on the Air by Arcadia Press. Scott's in the book, and some great pictures, with great people. Oh, my God. We got, Ted Williams, and pictures of Muhammad Ali and Jimmy Connors, and it's not just sportscasters, it's people that they interviewed and over throughout the years. Tiger Woods is in the book too. So there's a link to purchase that book, or you can just reach me at gicorn@yahoo.com or on LinkedIn under my name, and also on Twitter at SanGSports99. Great being part of these shows, especially Pundit's Pundit, the Sports Exchange, and Inside the Pigskin. Great working with you all.
Well, I got the best crew. I'm very grateful and blessed to have you guys, Denzel Snipes, without a doubt, Candy Ebling, and the list goes on with all the shows as well. I know NGBN TV has a lot of great things to offer. Hopefully, as the network grows, we might find another one or two down the road of which one of these would qualify for that particular format. Not speculating, it's just something hopefully it'll get done. So meanwhile, I just want to, on behalf of JB Ellis, Jacob Christer, George Eichhorn, my name is Scott Morgan-Roth, wishing you a happy new year, a prosperous 2024, and season's greetings. We look forward to seeing you back in 2024 when we return, but we will not be quiet, okay? So we'll be going out there and replaying a lot of our archives that you can find on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. But meanwhile, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Happy New Year, everybody. Good night now.